Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I now recognize the gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Smith, for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Let me just ask two basic questions. You know, despite presenting itself as a U.S. partner, Azerbaijan under Aliyev, and I've met with him twice in Baku and raised human rights issues with him. And recently, obviously, he committed genocide against the people of Nagorno-Karabakh. He signed a cooperation agreement with both Iran and Russia, including a significant gas swap deal with Tehran. These actions, in my opinion, directly benefit the two regimes and the U.S. is actively working to counter. And I'm wondering what your thoughts might be on that. Secondly, if I could, Rob Malley. You know, we know that the Office of Inspector General, and I read the report, it was a good report about the fact that the State Department did not follow its own clearance guidelines. But the bigger issue is having someone who was seemingly very much in favor of Tehran's policies in such a strategic position as special envoy does raise the question what damage might have been done, has been done, and might even carry forward right into today, especially as to Tehran's perceptions of what we're all about. And do you think the FBI will ever get to the bottom of it? And if you could speak to that as well. But those two questions, if you could. Norman?
In order to restrict Iran's access to funds and to apply the appropriate diplomatic and economic pressures, it is critical that Iran not have the capacity to undertake economic deals such as it conducted with Azerbaijan, with anyone. As Ms. Stroll correctly stated, Iran is under the greatest pressure when it faces multilateral economic and diplomatic isolation, and that must be absolute. Whenever there are exceptions to that, Iran benefits, and that weakens the pressure on Iran itself. Regarding Mr. Malley, it's out of my level of competence, and I would defer to the Federal Bureau of Investigation or others. Thank you.
Would any of you want to comment on either of those two issues?
I would simply note that in the Biden administration, and again in this administration, there is an aligned objective of pursuing negotiations first for a verifiable deal that blocks all Iran's pathways towards a nuclear weapon. And I think it underscores the importance of an independent and strong Inspector General in the State Department, as well as an FBI who's allowed to conduct credible and important investigations.
Claire? Do any of you have any sense as to when the FBI may reveal where it is in terms of this investigation? It seems like Malley just fell off the face of the earth, and to have someone of his special envoy in such a strategic position seems to me it would undermine what this country was all about in our dealings with Iran. Would you agree with that at least? Nobody? Okay. I do hope that we will follow up on the Azerbaijan connection. Again, I've met with a number of people who have political prisoners sitting in his horrible jails. He is so brazen that in the past, he put a stringer who was an Azerbaijani woman into jail, gave her an over 7-year prison sentence, and she worked for Radio Free Europe. So I actually convened a hearing and had the head of Radio Free Europe come and testify about how horrible it was. And what was her crime? She pointed out how corrupt Aliyev is. And now we have a situation again where he's getting into deals with a country that needs hard currency extremely hard. We know that Xi Jinping and the Communist Party, they enable dictatorship and bad actors everywhere. But this man who gets a free pass in this town, and that is Aliyev, needs to be called out. I thank you. Yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I now